Hey, hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my April TBR Bingo, which is the game I play every single month to see what books I'm going to be reading in the next coming month in order to buy books for that month. Basically, it's real simple. You can watch all of the rules and everything that I talk about for this game in my January one, which was the very first one. I'll have it linked somewhere, but to quickly break it down, basically what happens is if I get a bingo, I get to buy a book. And for every single color, there is a different category, and every single square is a prompt that I fill with a card. The green squares are library, the blue squares are owned books, the yellow squares are buddy reads, and the white squares are unknown, minus the very middle one, which is the book that I most want to read that month, the one that I would be absolutely devastated if it didn't make it on the board. I get to pick it. It's the only square I get to pick unaffected by anything else on this board. The first thing I like to do every single month is I pick 9 random cards, well, 8 random cards now that I don't have the middle square. I shuffle these bad boys up, I pick 8 of them at random, and I smack them on the board. So I don't know what those prompts are, you don't know what those prompts are. As the month goes on, if I read a square that touches one of those prompts, I get to flip it, and then I get to know the prompt and pick a book for it. So stick with me and watch my weekly vlogs if you want to know what those prompts are going to be. We're going to go through the 4 prompts, 5 that have already been picked for me. So let's start off by putting them on the board. And here we are. The first thing you're probably going to notice is Amanda. There's 2 Sarah J. Maas books on this board. The past 3 months, you've only had 1. And that is because some exciting news happened this month. I'm going to start reading 2 Sarah J. Maas books a month just for the next 2 months so that I can get ACOTAR finished, because my goal for April is to knock out as many books on my owned but not read shelf. And both of those are on that shelf. So I'm really excited to be reading both of these. One of them I'll be reading for a buddy read according to the board, and one of them I'll be reading for my mass along according to the board, but both of them are buddy reads because my mass along is a giant buddy read, right? So I will be reading A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury for the first time ever this coming month. I'm really excited. I'm not going to talk to you about what they're about because it's ACOTAR. If you don't know what it's about already, like, you're probably not going to want to find out. After that, my book club will be reading The Last Name Sara together, which is a book about, is she a dragon hunter, I believe? Something. Yeah, I really know what I'm talking about. I just know it's a desert setting, and I'm really excited to be reading it with them. And then finally, we will be reading Obsidio together, me and a few friends, which is the 3rd and final book in the Illuminae Files trilogy. This will not be the final book that we'll be reading for this, like, Illuminae file read along that we are doing together. There is one more that we're going to be knocking out, which is Memento. The following month, get ready, you will be seeing that, and I'm really excited to be picking it up. But Obsidio is the 3rd and final book in Illuminae, which is a YA sci-fi series about this mining colony destruction that happens, and then we follow these different characters in this multimedia format as they are trying to figure out what went wrong and who's trying to kill all of them. It's really good. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it already. The book I picked this month for me to read, and I would be very devastated if I did not get to it this month, is Rule of Wolves. I don't have my copy with me. Actually, I have my copy of all of these and I didn't show you them. Oh well, you'll see them later. I don't have my copy with me because it actually doesn't come out until next Tuesday, so I'm like thrilled to be reading it. I will be starting it in March. I will be starting it the day it arrives in my home, but I don't have it with me right now to show to you. So I'm sad, but I'm happy because it's coming. Here it comes. I'm so excited. So that is the quick part of this video. Next, we will go through the categories where I actually get to pick some books for them. So I'm thrilled. This is my favorite part of it every single time. So like I said, this month, my main focus is reading books off of my owned, not read shelf. As of this minute of me filming, I have 30 books on that shelf, and I'd really like to knock it down to 20. I think that's kind of a high number to expect from myself, so if I get it below 25 in the month of April, I'm going to be really happy. Start picking some prompts. I will start with the 4 library books first. So the first prompt for a library book is red cover. I'm excited. I was hoping I was going to get some more like colors on the cover because I really like those prompts. They're fun, exciting. They bring lots of variety. For my library books, I apologize. I'm going to say for every single one of these titles, I don't know what this is about, but I'm excited to read it. Let's rapid fire get through this. First up, my first card was red cover, and for that I'm going to be reading Night Film. I don't know what this is about, but I'm excited to read it. The second library book is going to be, oh my goodness, 3-word title. And for this, I'm going to be reading Little Fires Everywhere. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this book. I don't know what this is about, but I'm excited to read it. The next library book prompt is going to be title contains letter P. That's a good one. That's fun, exciting. I can't wait to see what I'm about to tell you in 2 seconds. Third prompt is contains letter P, and for this I'm going to be reading The Deep by Nick Cutter. I don't know what this is about. I know it's by Nick Cutter. That's more than I knew about the last two, so. And the final library book cover is going to, the final library prompt is going to be, these are really upside down. Title contains letter T. I shuffle them like on the floor, all mixing and mashing, so they kind of like turn every which way. So I don't know like how to show them to you. And the final prompt for my library books is the Midnight Library by, is it Matt Haig? That dude. Cool. Now that we've got my library books done, I'm gonna be able to tell you a little bit more about these next few books. So not only am I trying to get through books that I own and haven't read yet, but I'm also trying to get through a bunch of arcs that I have backlogged from the past few months. So you're gonna be seeing a few of those in this pile, and I'm really excited to be getting to them. So I'll try to mention if it's an arc. Let's go. Okay, cool. Now I'm really excited to do the books that I own and haven't read yet. Well, actually, for this, I can do any book I own, even if it's a reread. But this month, I'm going to be focusing on just knocking out books I haven't read yet. Let's do a quick shuffle right over here. Just like this. You can't see what I'm doing. I dropped a card on the ground. I don't want you to see the prompts though. Oh, duh. I'm a fool. And let's go. The first one up is, I threw another card. That should be the next card I pick. Title contains letter F. The first prompt is contains letter F, and for this I'm going to be reading The Ones We're Meant to Find. And this is a YA sci-fi story about a girl who is lost on an island. She showed up on shore on this island 3 years ago and has no memory, I believe, prior to this, but she does know that she needs to get back to her sister. So we're following that perspective, and then we're following this other perspective of this other girl who I'm assuming is going to be her sister, but we don't totally know. And this other girl lives in this wonderful, completely green city, and it's the last city of its kind. And I don't really know how those two stories are going to connect with each other, but I do know that they're gonna come together at some point. And I've heard that it is really emotionally gripping, and I'm excited because this is my arc that I got from the publishers, and I'm really excited to be reading it. And here we go, friend pick. Okay, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. The next prompt is friend pick, and for this I had my friend select from 3 books that I offered to her because I just need to be reading from a certain list this month. So she got to choose between The Bone Maker, The Lost Queen, and The Unbroken. 2 of those are books that I've been given the arc for, and one of those is something I bought myself. She chose The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. Crap, we're gonna get into a little bit of an iffy thing here where I'm gonna say I don't know what this book is about, and I'm sorry. I do know that it's by Sarah Beth Durst, so it is a fantasy, and it's probably going to be a fantasy that borders between YA and adult because that's where I tend to find her. I wouldn't necessarily categorize her books as new adult because they don't have that new adult vibe, but they are like mature young adult. Does that make sense? I don't know. Sometimes her books are categorized as adult, but I find them to be more of like a young adult feel, but like we're talking like 18, 19-year-old. Why? So I received the arc from the publishers from this, and I am so thrilled to be getting to it. I know it sounds really good. When I heard like the premise of it before, I was really into it. I just can't tell you right now what any of that is. Next one is title does not contain letter E. Oh, that's always so hard because I can't use the word the, and the word the is in almost every single title. Like, oh. The third prompt from books that I own doesn't contain letter E, and for this I'm going to be reading, hold up, The Light of the Midnight Stars. I want to make sure I got that correct because it is a beautiful book and it's a beautiful cover. I actually won this in a Goodreads giveaway. I don't know if you like participate in the giveaways, but I do, and I've actually won 4 books to date over the past I guess it's been like 9 years, so it's really not that much, but 4 books, I'm pretty excited about it. Out of those 4, I've read 2 of them, but I'm going to be trying to read this one. I don't really know a ton about this. It's kind of how I like to go into my books, so I guess it should be like the theme of my channel is I don't really know what this book is about. Or you know what my other theme could be, and then unexpected things happened. I don't really know what this book is about, but I know that it's going to have a lot of what was the word that the blurb used? So I'm looking at the blurb right now, and it says that it is a combination of fantasy, history, and Jewish folklore. So I'm really excited to be trying out some folklore that I'm not really familiar with. I'm not a huge fan of folklore and myths, but I think it's because I've always been like force-fed the same ones over and over and over again, and I'm kind of tired of those. Like, I've heard them, I liked the original stories, I liked some of the retellings, but now I'm getting tired of those retellings. So I think I'm gonna be really into this just based off of the idea that it is something different and unique, and it sounds just really exciting. So yeah, and it doesn't hurt that that cover is absolutely gorgeous. The next prompt for my own not read shelf is title does not contain letter R. Dang, I hate these ones. They're so hard. They're so hard. There's so many of them too. The next prompt that I got is title does not contain letter R, and for this I'm going to be reading Don't Tell a Soul. I took the book out of the dust jacket and it's really far away and I don't feel like getting up and getting it. So this is a Rebecca retelling. I picked this one up because it is a magical realism horror book, and it is about a haunted house where all of these girls have died, and this one girl comes back to live there and she might become one of the girls. I believe that's kind of the vibes I was getting from the blurb. I might not be completely accurate on that, but I'm hoping to read it and let you know if I'm accurate. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I'm really glad I picked it up last month and bought it and can finally read it because it looks so good and I love the cover. And when I took the dust jacket off, I wish I could show you. It was this gorgeous shade of blue, and then these hands were etched into the hardback. If you want to see it, stay tuned. It'll be in one of my vlogs and I'll be talking about it over the next month because I definitely will be getting to this book this month. The next one is title does not contain letter S. I think I'm gonna do some more shuffling because it's just a lot of those. I don't want any more of those. Please, no more of the does not contains. Those are so much harder than the contains. The next prompt is title does not contain letter S, and for this I am going to be reading Beneath the Keep by Erica Johansson. Oh my god, I read The Queen of the Tierling and The Invasion of the Tierling, and as of this moment I'm planning on reading The Fate of the Tierling all within a month of each other, and I am loving them all so much. They are the first two, which I have read, were both 5 stars and are on my favorites of the year list, and then the third one I'm really hoping I'll enjoy, although I'm really nervous about it, but I'm hoping. You'll be able to hear about it next week when my wrap-up comes out because I'll have answers for you by then. So if you want to know, stay tuned for that, or check out some of my vlogs that are coming out in between all of these. Beneath the Keep was given to me by the publisher. I requested it after reading The Queen of the Tierling and loving it so much, and they gave it to me and I was so thrilled, and I cannot wait to get to it. It had been published by the time they gave me the ARC, so I did pick up the audiobook to read along with it because I've been reading the rest of the books in audiobook format, so I'm gonna try to stick with that, but I'm gonna have the ebook to read along with it, and I'm just so thrilled. I'm so stinking thrilled. Like, I am predicting that book will be a 5-star already. Like, I have no proof, but I'm pretty sure it is based on the villain of the first few stories and how she came to who she was going to be. So she's called the Red Queen, and I'm pretty sure it is her backstory, and I'm so thrilled to be getting some more of her. Like, please. Okay, so the next one is wow. Does not contain a T. There you go. 2 prompts where I can't use the word the. This is the face of fear. The next prompt was doesn't contain a T, and for this I am going to be doing a reread. Oh my god, why didn't I pick up the book? It would have been so nice to put the book here while I was talking to you, but editing Amanda's gonna hate me for making her go and get all the pictures of the books. For it doesn't contain a T, I am going to be reading Words of Radiance. I'm finally going to be getting back into my Sanderson rereads because I never made it to Rhythm of War. I reread Words of Radiance last year and I really loved it, and then I never made it to my reread of Words of Radiance. I think I just got overwhelmed and kind of like about it, and then I had to be doing TBR Bingo, and I'm trying to knock off books from my own not read shelf, but I only had one book on my own not read shelf that would fit this prompt, and it was something that I needed for a future month for a certain challenge, so I couldn't read it this month. So I had to go through my old books and pick out a reread, and I was like, you know what, it's time for me to continue on with Sanderson and do my reread so that I can finally get to Rhythm of War. I will be reading Words of Radiance, which is the sequel to The Way of Kings, which is Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson's adult epic series about these, oh my god, it's really complicated and kind of hard to explain, and I'm kind of blanking right now on how to do that. Anyways, I love it, and I'm not gonna bother explaining it because I'm having a hard time here, but if you like epic high fantasy, this is one for you to check out. I know they're long, I know they're thick boys. Pick up the audiobooks, they're really great. They're some of my favorite audiobooks that I've listened to. I really like the narrators, and I think they do a good job of keeping all the different perspectives and different people separate, and I just think it's a good time. So yeah, hopefully I'll be picking up Oathbringer shortly. The next one is Title Contains G, 4 for 4, or 4 for 4 on this card. And as the last few months I have always said, in January I read The House in the Cerulean Sea for this one, and it was one of my favorite books of the year, and I might reread it for this prompt. I won't, because I don't have enough time this coming month to even think about rereading The House in the Cerulean Sea, but I read it the first time I got that card, and then I've gotten that card every single month since. I messed up. The card where I read The House in the Cerulean Sea doesn't contain G. Wow. This is the first month I haven't gotten doesn't contain G. This is the first month I couldn't read House in the Cerulean Sea for that prompt.
Or you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Anyways, I'm going to be reading What Big Teeth, which is like a horror, fantasy, magical realism, contemporary story. I believe it might be taking like some inspiration from Little Red Riding Hood, just based off of the title. Or is it The Three Little Pigs? No, it's Little Red Riding Hood, right? I think it takes some inspiration from that, but I'm really not sure, to be completely honest. Like, it doesn't say it anywhere on here that I've seen, but I know that it is about this girl who went away to college and she was dealing with some issues, and so she came back home and her family is full of monsters and she's becoming one of them. I think that's what it is. I'm not totally sure. I'm just really excited. This and Don't Tell a Soul are both considered gothic works, which I tend to stay away from gothic works because they can focus too much on the atmosphere and not too much on the plot or the characters, and I definitely need either plot or characters to be really strong in a book. But I'm gonna give these two a shot, and I'm really hoping I like them because this is also one of my most anticipated books of the year. Just look how pretty it is. Even if I hate it, honestly, I'm gonna keep it because this is so gorgeous. I love it so much. I love it so much. I need to look up who made this cover because they did a fantastic job, and I want to follow them on Instagram. Aurora Parla Greco. Okay, I'm gonna go see if she has an Instagram. I'm assuming her pronouns are she. And if I find it, maybe I'll link it down below. And the final prompt is repeat author. Fun. For the final prompt on the board, we got repeat author. I'm really excited about this one. This is one I've been pushing off for a few months now because I did receive the arc of this, and then it got published last month, and I still haven't read it because I'm just nervous. I'm so scared, and I'm probably gonna write that to the publishers when I finally review the book, just like, yo, I'm sorry this took me so long. I was so scared. And that is A Desolation Called Peace. This is one of my most anticipated books of last year. I mean, it didn't get published last year, but I read A Memory Called Empire, and I gave it 5 stars, and I loved it, and it was one of my favorite books of last year. And so I've been anticipating it since last year. Does that make sense? Does that make, like, it's not last year I was anticipating it because it wasn't coming out. I've been anticipating it since last year, but I don't think it made it on my most anticipated of this year. I'll have to look at that list again sometime soon. So this book is picking up right after where A Memory Called Empire left off. I've actually read a few chapters of it already because I was like trying it out, and I couldn't bring myself to continue because I was so scared. Like, I cannot explain to you guys how scared I am to continue on with sequels for books that I love. I'm terrified. So book 1, we are following this main girl, and she is an ambassador to this country. So it's sci-fi, it's adult sci-fi, which I don't really read that often, which is probably also why I'm scared. How many times can I say I'm scared? More than 5. And so she goes to this distant planet to be the ambassador there because the ambassador before her died and she's taking his place. But her people and their culture have developed this way that they can take the memories from a person in their position before and implant it into you. So she's supposed to have her previous ambassador's memories, but as soon as she arrives to the planet, something goes wrong. So she's completely lost with no connection to her home planet, no connection to the people who were supposed to help her once she got there, no memory of how to do her job, and she's just kind of thrown into the midst of it, and lots of horrible things go wrong and are kind of unexpected, and it was done so well. And I'm kind of thinking there's going to be a romance that develops in book 2, and I'm nervous. Oh, I didn't say I'm scared. Should I? I'm scared. Just really quickly here at the end before you go back to final Amanda and she lets you free, there are a few other books that I am hoping to read this month that I'm just gonna let you know about here really rapid fire because I can. I don't know if I'll be getting to them. It'll depend on how the board flips and how much time I have, but some other books I'd like to read this month are Foundry Side, The Lost Queen, The Unbroken, and I'd really like to be able to pick up one of my 2 books that I have on pause, which are Red Sister and Malice. So hopefully I can read one of those or both of them or any amount of them. I don't know. So that's my board. I'm really excited to bring it to you. I'm really excited to be reading all of these books. I am thrilled with these options. I mean, it's an intimidating month and it's really kind of messed me up, and I'm not gonna lie, it threw me for a loop. But I think that I have some really good books, and I think that I can definitely get below my 25 books that I need to read for my owned not read shelf. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Last month, my March TBR hit over 200 views in a month, and that is just absolutely amazing, and I can't even believe it. And I'm so thankful to all of you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, I really, really appreciate you, and I'm glad you did. And I also have passed 100 subscribers as of last month, so thanks for subscribing if you did. Thanks for watching if you didn't. I don't care either way. You're doing great, and I really appreciate whatever little bit you're willing to give me. So thanks again. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I will talk to you all in the comments. Bye.